What's up, guys? Artem MMA Analysis here, and I really cannot wait to talk about this next fight. It's not a UFC fight, but what it is a Dana White's Contender Series 2022 fight. It is pretty much the first quote-unquote confirmed fight that we're going to be having in Dana White's Contender Series 2022 this year, and that is going to be between the Australian flyweight Stephen Erceg, and he will be fighting the American flyweight Clayton Carpenter, who is a red-hot prospect out of USA. Stephen Erceg, I should say, is a little bit of a prospect out of Australia. I mean, he is the champion of Australia's biggest promotion, Eternal MMA. He's got a black belt from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And he's 8-1. He's got a record of 8-1. He's also got a pretty good amateur record. I think his amateur record is like 6-1 or something like that. And yeah, and that one loss in the amateur record was to Dennis Bondar, who recently fought in the UFC. I don't think he won, but he didn't win, but he's still in the UFC. You know what I mean? And then for the pro, Sean Golsey, who was actually pretty good on the Australian regional scene himself, and I actually wouldn't be too surprised if we saw Sean Golsey on Dana White's Contender Series this year. But that's not the point, man. We're here to talk about Stephen Erceg. I believe he's 26 years old. My source also for this fight is Fight Night Oz, who is an Instagram page, and also MMA Ecosystem, who is also another a UFC sort of based news Instagram page. So they are my two sources here. Not 100% sure where they found out that information from, but that's where I found out that this fight is happening. And I believe Stephen Erceg has signed the contract, so it's almost confirmed. It's just not quite ready to come out. But I do think that Stephen Erceg's got some pretty good wins on his record. His win over Shannon Ross is alright. That has aged relatively well since then. Shannon Ross has gone and got a win in UAE Warriors, and after that, man, she's kind of been defending the belt against regional levels of competition. But he did beat Tim Moore when he was 3-1, who was 12-7 at the time. Very experienced guy for the Australian regional competition. The truth is about the guys here in New Zealand and Australia, we just don't have that many opponents to be fighting. You know, like there's just not as many MMA fighters there for these guys to kind of come out and fight. As for the other hand, Clayton Carpenter, only 25 years old. He's fighting out of MMA Lab, which is Colby Covington's gym in Arizona, and that's going to be a pretty exciting fight because this guy's a pretty decent prospect as well. He lost to his junior contest by split decision when he was only like 18 years old or something on the amateur scene. He made his pro debut 3 years ago when he was only 22, and since then he's 5-0. He's going pretty well, and most of his wins have come inside the distance, and a lot of them inside the first round as well. He knocked out a guy that was 5-2 in 13 seconds by head kick. He knee-barred Nick Clem, who was 3-1 in 45 seconds. He knocked out a couple of guys, one guy with a losing record, and then choked out one guy losing record inside the distance there in his first two fights. So this guy's got finishing abilities. The black belt of Stephen Erceg, I think, is probably going to come into play, as Stephen Erceg's really going to want to have this fight on the ground if he's fighting a guy with the power of Clayton Carpenter. I also going to say I'm really glad that this fight is taking place at flyweight, and that's just because, man, the UFC needs more flyweights. The UFC's only got like 40 flyweights. They've got like 40 light heavyweights and like 40 heavyweights. So I am expecting to see more flyweights, more light heavyweights, and more heavyweights inside this. And I also think that we're going to get a few more Chinese fighters, because I do know that the UFC is trying to build their kind of stage in the Chinese market. Then I do think Long Zhao is coming back in Dana White's Contender Series. So if you've made it this far, you're going to get a little sneak peek. I found out from MMA in the Ecosystem on Instagram that Long Zhao may be making a return. He's only 23 years old, but he's already got a 19-7 record. I mean, that's absolutely insane. I can understand why the UFC wants these guys, because they just fight so often. I mean, why would you not want guys that fight often? He went to a decision with Christian Quinones. Since then, he's won a couple of fights, and I think that maybe that could be enough for the UFC to look at him as another contender, potentially put him back on Dana White's Contender Series. But yeah, I think I'm going to just say that this is the first official fight we've got for 2022, Stephen Erceg and Clayton Carpenter, a fight I'm really looking forward to. You guys know I love Dana White's Contender Series. You guys know I'm going to be looking into the fight footage, and I'm going to be showing that in my breakdown. So I cannot wait. The fight's taking place in July, by the way. I didn't say that earlier. Cannot wait for that one.